Order. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 PL 1975, specifying the time, date, location, login, or dial-in information, and to the extent known, the agenda by posting a copy of the notice on the municipal building, the municipal court, and the 2 municipal library bulletin boards, municipal website, providing a copy to the official newspapers of the township, and by filing a copy in the office of the township clerk in accordance with certification by the clerk, which will be entered in the minutes. The township continues to use a remote meeting format in an effort to mitigate the chance of exposure to COVID-19 as a part of the township's ongoing effort to slow the rate of transmission and avoid overwhelming our treatment centers. In order to make sure a clear record of the meeting can be made and that all parties are heard in an organized fashion, all members of the public will be muted during the meeting. If a member of the public wishes to speak during any public comment portion, please raise your hand. This can be done either through the Zoom app or by pressing *9 on your phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will receive a prompt or request to unmute. Please click the prompt or press *6 on your phone to unmute. Upon being unmuted, you should begin to ask any and all questions you may have. You will have 3 minutes to speak, at the conclusion of which you will be muted again, and the council or administration will respond as necessary. Should you have any further comments or questions, the Township Council is always available by email and phone, and you can always call the mayor's office during normal operating hours. Each member of the public shall have only one opportunity to speak during each public portion. As the technology does not allow us to know if there is a multiple caller on an individual phone line or logged in user account, we ask that if you wish to speak that you log in or dial in separately so that we can recognize you as a separate individual. Individuals may also submit written comments to the township clerk up to 48 hours prior to the meeting to be read by the township clerk during the public comment portion of the meeting. Said comments shall be limited to 3 minutes of reading. Thank you in advance for your patience as we continue to move the township forward during this health emergency. Ms. Cedar, can you please call the roll?
Councilman Bullard, Councilwoman Cahill,
Here.
Councilman Khan,
Here.
Councilman Rouse,
Here.
Councilman Shaw,
Here.
Councilman Urin,
Here.
Council President Lombardi,
Here.
Mayor Brian Waller,
Present.
Business Administrator Timothy Gacy,
Here.
Township Attorney Rajveer Goomer,
Here.
Deputy Township Clerk Kelly Mitch,
Here.
and I'm here, Melissa Cedar, the Township Clerk.
Everyone, please join us in the flag salute.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think we're getting how to get that in sync. Number 5, comments from administration and council regarding adjournment of any matters on this agenda. Seeing none, I'll move to number 6, which is open to the public for comments regarding consent agenda items only. Again, remember, these are consent agenda items only, and we will open to the public. If you wish to speak at this time, please raise your hand, either on the Zoom app or if by phone by pressing *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will receive or hear a request to unmute yourself. Please click the prompt or press *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. At that time, please state your name and address and know that you have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. The council or administration will respond if necessary after you have completed any comments or questions. We're now open to the public for the consent agenda items.
Council President, there are no individuals with their hand raised.
The public portion is now closed. Number 7 is a fully funded ordinance. Second reading, $1,080,000 for various capital improvements. It will be open to the public. It's a resolution adopting ordinance. Mrs. Cedar, can you please read this ordinance?
Be it resolved by the Township Council of Piscataway Township, New Jersey, that an ordinance entitled Ordinance Appropriating $1,080,000, $900,000 of which is from the Capital Improvement Fund, $125,000 of which is from a 2022 current budget appropriation, and $55,000 of which is from a developer's contribution for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Piscataway, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, was introduced on the 22nd day of November 2022, and had passed the first reading and was published on the 25th day of November 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the aforesaid ordinance, having had a second reading on December 6, 2022, be adopted, passed, and after passage be published, together with a notice of the date of passage or approval in the official newspaper. Be it further resolved that this ordinance shall be assigned number 2022-25.
Thank you, Mrs. Cedar. Since this is a second reading for the fully funded ordinance, we will be opening to the public. At this time, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand either on the Zoom app or if by pressing *9 on your phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will receive or hear a request to unmute yourself. Please click the prompt or press *6 on the phone to unmute yourself. At that time, please state your name and address and know that you have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. The council or administration will respond if necessary after you have completed any comments or questions. We're now open to the public for the second reading of number 7.
Council President, I'm asking the first individual with their hand raised to unmute themselves.
Good evening, Stacy Berger, 233 Ellis Parkway. Could someone just identify what the capital improvements that are fully funded in this resolution or fully funded in the ordinance are?
Yes, we can. Give us 1 second now.
Sure, take as long as you need.
For the acquisition of a stump grinder, improvements to our salt barn, preliminary planning and engineering expenses for road improvements, acquisition of a Ford Escape, a Toro wide area mower, a Toro Sand Pro football fields, the DW30 power wheelbarrow, and an asphalt rolling cat. That's it.
Thank you for that clarification, Tim.
Council President, there are no other individuals with their hand raised.
The public portion is now closed on number 7. Can I have an offer, please?
I'd like to make an offer, Councilwoman Cahill.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second that, Councilman Khan.
Ms. Cedar, can you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Cahill,
Yes.
Councilman Khan,
Yes.
Councilman Rouse,
Yes.
Councilman Shaw,
Yes.
Councilman Irwin,
Yes.
Council President Lombardi.
Yes, and the ordinance passes second reading. Number 8 is a bond ordinance. It is also a second reading, $9,700,000 / $9,215,000 for various capital improvements. It will be open to the public. It's a resolution and it's an adopting ordinance. We will now, Mrs. Cedar, can you please read the bond ordinance, please?
Be it resolved by the Township Council of Piscataway Township, New Jersey, that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Piscataway in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $9,700,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $9,215,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof, was introduced on the 22nd day of November 2022, and had passed the first reading and was published on the 25th day of November 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the aforesaid ordinance, having had a second reading on December 6, 2022, be adopted, passed, and after passage be published together with a notice of the date of passage or approval in the official newspaper. Be it further resolved that this ordinance shall be assigned number 2022-26.
Thank you, Mrs. Cedar. We'll now open to the public for number 8. If you wish to speak at this time, please raise your hand either on the Zoom app or if by phone by pressing *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will receive or hear a request to unmute yourself. Please click the prompt or press *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. At that time, please state your name and address and know that you have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. The council or administration will respond if necessary after you have completed any comments or questions. We're now open to the public for number 8, which is a bond ordinance for various capital improvements.
Council President, I'm asking the first individual with their hand raised to unmute themselves.
Still me, Stacy, wondering what the capital improvements would be. It would be really helpful if these were actually articulated in the ordinance themselves so that when Mrs. Cedar reads them, people know what they are, or we could, at least on first reading.
They are posted on the website after the first reading. So that's how we have been doing it. But we can have somebody clarify that for you. Are you done with your questions?
I am, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, for this one, it's various road improvements. It's $2 million towards sidewalk reconstruction.
Owen, I need some help here. I'm on the middle of a meeting. I need all of 15 minutes.
As I was saying, $2 million for replacement of curbs, sidewalks, and ADA compliant ramps. That's continuing our sidewalk and curb improvement projects. $1.7 million for the DPW to mill and repave the roads that are planned for 2023. $1.55 million for improvements to Ethel Road West from Sutton's Lane to Stelton Road. $775,000 for Leslie Avenue Phase 2 project, which includes Belgian block curbing, sidewalks, ADA compliant pedestrian curb ramps, and reconstruction paving improvements to surrounding streets, Maple Street and Ann Street. $475,000 for the acquisition of a tandem dump truck. $700,000 for improvements to Snowdrift Drive Road improvement project. Installation of full depth pavement and further including all works necessary. And $1.5 million for various park improvements. And
Thank you. Go
$1
ahead.
million for various improvements to the Maple Avenue, the old Public Works garage, which is down on Maple Avenue. We're doing improvements to heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and making the exterior look a little bit better than it looks now.
Thank you so much for that clarification.
Council President, there are no other individuals with their hand raised.
The public portion is now closed. Can I have an offer, please?
I'll second Councilman Khan.
Thank you. Cedar, can you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Cahill,
Yes.
Councilman Khan,
Sorry. Yes.
Councilman Rouse,
Yes.
Councilman Shaw,
Yes.
Councilman Uren,
Yes.
Council President Lombardi.
Yes, and number 8, the bond ordinance passes second reading. Number 9 are the consent agenda resolutions. For efficiency, items have been consolidated into a consent agenda to be voted on together. The materials for these items have been distributed to the council in advance of the meeting. At this time, are there any items that the council would like removed from the consent agenda or to be discussed or voted on separately? Seeing none, can I have an offer to accept the consent agenda?
Councilman Aaron offer.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Councilman Rouse second.
Thank you. Could you please call the roll, Mrs. Cedar?
Councilwoman Cahill,
Yes.
Councilman Khan,
Yes.
Councilman Rouse,
Yes.
Councilman Shaw,
Yes.
Councilman Uren,
Yes.
Council President Lombardi.
Yes, and the consent agenda passes. Number 10 is announcements and comments from officials. Councilwoman Cahill, do you have any announcements?
Yes, I would just like to remind our residents that Santa plans to make an appearance at the Christmas lighting this Friday, December 9th. We invite all the public to come out and enjoy the festivities at the tree lighting. Oh, and also Santa will be on the mayor's show on Monday. So look forward to that. And children are welcome to call in for that.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cahill, and I believe that's at 7 o'clock on Friday. Councilman Khan?
Thank you. I have no comments, Council President.
Councilman Rouse?
No, I have no comments.
Councilman Shaw?
No, thanks.
Councilman Aaron?
No comments.
Mayor Brian Waller?
None, Council President.
Our Business Administrator, Tim Dacey?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Township Attorney, Raj Kumar?
No comment, thank you.
And I also don't have anything at this time. Number 11 is the agenda session for the December 13th, 2022 meeting. We have an ordinance second reading, amending the supplementing various chapters of the municipal code. It will be open to the public, a resolution adopting ordinance. Do we have any questions or concerns? Next will be an ordinance second reading. Ordinance adopting amended redevelopment plan for block 11901, lot 22.15, and that's 857 Hose Lane West. That will be open to the public, and then it will be a resolution adopting ordinance. Do we have any questions or concerns regarding that? We'll have a resolution designation of township council meeting dates for 2023. That's pretty self-explanatory. A resolution authorizing award of contract for PRC PowerPad software license, 3 years, BRT Technologies LLC, not to exceed $6,828. A resolution in support of Dimension Renewable Energy Community Solar Projects. A resolution authorizing budget transfers. A resolution authorizing 2023 temporary budget, which we do every year. A resolution authorizing refund of overpayment of taxes due to 100% disabled veteran status, block 2304, lot 501. A resolution authorizing cancellation of taxes due to 100% disabled veteran status, block 2304, lot 5.01. A resolution authorizing award of contract through the Middlesex County Co-op 2022 rock salt supply, Morton Salt Incorporated, not to exceed $164,925. Hopefully we don't need that much of that. And a motion to accept report of the clerk's account for November 20 and 22. Do we have any questions regarding any of these items on the upcoming December 13th meeting? Seeing none, we'll open to the public at this time for any questions. If you wish to speak at this time, please raise your hand either on the Zoom app or if by a phone by pressing *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will receive or hear a request to unmute yourself. Please click the prompt or press *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. At that time, please state your name and address and know that you have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. The council or administration will respond if necessary after you have completed any comments or questions. We're now open to the public.
Council President, I'm asking the first individual with their hand raised to unmute themselves.
Yes, hi, my name is Virginia Witt. I live at 15 Stafford Drive. And my neighbors have been discussing a problem here. I've been a resident for about 8 years, and for the first 6.5 to 7 years, this has been a relatively peaceful neighborhood. But over the last year to year and a half, the noise from the stadium has gone from being an occasional home game and graduation ceremony, and from time to time, things during reasonable hours on weekends, until recently, over the last year and a half or so, it has accelerated and become absolutely unbearable, to the point that the noise coming from the stadium is daily, It goes past 11 and 12 o'clock at night. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's hip hop music that's blasted so loud, it's making our walls shake. We call the Piscataway police. They tell us to call Rutgers police. Rutgers police basically laugh in our faces. So we have absolutely no redress to this nuisance. And as a physician, I can tell you that if the noise is that loud in my neighborhood, which is a block and a half from the stadium, the people inside the stadium are having the nerve cells in their ears damaged, and they're getting permanent hearing damage from what's going on inside that stadium. I would like for our township council to please do something about this. It has become absolutely unbearable.
Thank you, Mrs. Witt, for your concern.
It's Dr. Witt, please.
Sorry about that, Dr. Witt. I was going to say Virginia Witt. And thank you for that concern. Is that going on only during game days, or it's going on all during the week?
Council President, if I might jump in here, I did get a email from one of the residents on Stafford, and I forwarded it on to Mr. Clark and to contact the athletic director Hobbs at the university to get more clarification on the use of the stadium, when they can expect to have events there, and then asking for a sit down with Director Hobbs in regards to that.
They've got to lower the volume, and they have to stop doing it at 7 o'clock in the morning. They have to stop it before 11 o'clock at night. I mean, we are working people, and this is disruptive to our lives. And I know I'm not alone.
Council President, if I could comment, I don't live too far from there, and I have heard it every now and then, but more relevantly, my daughter's soccer club practices on campus. So I'm on campus 1 or 2 nights a week, right over by the Werpland Center. And the doctor's not wrong, and they haven't done this in the past. I mean, this weekend there were some like high school games there, but I think what she's complaining about is that this year they did an awful lot of fiddling with and testing and experimenting with the sound system and what they were going to produce at games during the week. And it was loud, and I don't remember it ever that occurring before. For example, they had a very elaborate drone show choreographed with music, and they practiced it and practiced it and practiced it. And I think that was a lot of what the residents heard. And I think we probably could, I understand why they're doing it, but I think we could relatively easily address that by limiting the hours. I mean, I remember being there, I was on campus, it was 9 o'clock at night, and it was, blaring all over the campus, and there were lights, and they kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I recognize that's what they were doing. So just to give a little insight to folks, but I think it's probably something, the mayor, that we can have a sit-down conversation with the university about and see if we can't come to some common ground on.
Thank you, Councilman Khan.
Council President, if I could just ask one question. I don't know if our attorney Raj Kumar, I mean, don't we have like sound ordinances here in town for the resident on certain hours, something on the books? Is that not pertain to a state university?
And yes, Councilwoman, that's the big issue, is that Rutgers University has some independence in those aspects, and we will look into and see if we can implement our ordinances on Rutgers land, but I don't think we do as a state agency have the authority to implement our ordinances on their property.
But they should be good neighbors.
Okay, we'll definitely have to look farther into this concern from Dr. Witt. Thank you, everyone.
Council President, I'm asking the next individual with their hand raised to unmute themselves.
Can they hear me now? Hi,
Please
this is Mary Ruth Mercurio. I live next door to Dr. Witt, and I have been complaining. I have documentation going back from 2019 as to the effects of the music. Our block has been shaking since 2019, on and off, and it stopped during COVID. And around 2021, I have emails to my family saying I've been awakened by the Rutgers blazing music. I have videos. It's so disturbing that I can't even focus on what I have to do inside my house. I put something on Facebook just as an outreach, and was told, and it responded by other people that said they live over a mile away and their windows are shaking. I can't imagine it, but the decibels are so loud, and it goes on for 14 hours. It has been going on since 2019. And I've reached out to Matthew Colagiovanni, I think his last name is, at Rutgers, the Rutgers president. Matthew had called me and said he's going to try to lower the music a tad, and that's all we ask. We live here, we support Rutgers in the football games, the college games. But when they have high school games blazing, I mean, I could play it for you once on my phone. No one in the right mind can believe it. It is so upsetting. And my sons are taking their finals. I can't focus on what I'm doing, and it's outraging, making me so upset that we never want to call the police. I have family in law enforcement. We don't want to bother the police and say, oh, Rutgers is making noise. We never want to do that, but we didn't know what else to do because they weren't responding to our pleas. We were pleading with them, please just lower it a tad. Have your music, have your fun. But when someone a half a mile away can hear the score of a high school football game at Rutgers, it is absolutely uncalled for. And I don't know if the township has any authority and can enforce any ordinance, but when I've been here 25 years and on and off, maybe 2 or 3 games a year, the big, what was it, Michigan games, and we go, oh, we have to deal with it, but it didn't go on for 14 hours. This goes on from April through November, almost every single weekend, sometimes Mondays and Wednesdays, but then it's Mondays and Wednesdays is not really too late. And it starts Friday nights often. My stepfather is basically, I hate to say, but he's basically deaf, and he came here in April to help me in my yard. And he said, holy crow, Mayor, how can you handle this? This is ridiculous. So the township has to help us because we don't know what else we could possibly do. It is not right. And all we ask is that they just lower it so our block doesn't shake. That's all we ask. And I think that's reasonable.
Thank you, Mrs. Mercurio. And we were not aware as much that you have told us this evening, but we will clearly look into this concern that multiple of your neighbors have. Thank you.
Council President, there are no other individuals with their hand raised at this time.
The public portion is now closed. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
evening.
Everyone.